Good morning, good morning, good morning with Melissa. Yes, I brought my cup with me on vacation. So I started a business in January, took 2 weeks off in February. That's the kind of life, that's the kind of business that I want. And I have some really good business news, which I'm going to share later. But I wanted to talk about transcending triggers. So children are our biggest trigger because most of us, and I'm really talking about my experience, but I may say like you or I, whatever. A lot of us had abuse when we were children and we were not allowed to do what we wanted to do. We had to do whatever our parents wanted us to do. We weren't allowed to speak up and use our voice. And I know like my dad also was, abusive in different ways. He called us, morons, idiots, smacked us upside the head a lot whenever he was having a hard time and didn't know how to parent or to manage children or to control his own emotions. So when a child in that environment, hey, your bagel is on the counter, you forgot to eat it. When a child is raised in that environment, and they become an adult, then when they have children in their life, then they're going to be triggered by those children. So I was raised without knowing how to control my emotions. I was raised without knowing how to properly manage if I get triggered. Hi, Todd. I'm so glad to see you here. We're talking about transcending triggers. So I grew up in a home where there was, abuse. My dad didn't know how to manage his emotions. He just didn't know what he was doing. And he was highly stressed out all the time, called us names, and hit us upside the head. Just a very stressful environment. He yelled all the time, yelled every day, yelling every day. Why did you do this? Who left this here? Clean this up. That was my dad 24/7 as children. So of course, as an adult, when I'm dealing with children, my first inclination is to want to yell, is to want to, call them names, or just be very stressed and frustrated the whole time, because that's all I witnessed. That's all I saw. I only saw people being frustrated by children. I only witnessed people being irritated by children. I only witnessed using stress, anger, and frustration to deal with children. I didn't get to witness a lot of other things in my childhood. So in the last few years, so like Luke, the eldest, is 12. So our first child of the children, so the first children born from my generation, it's 12 years old. And since then, my sisters and I have gone on, and my brother, we've gone on a massive journey of trying to heal our wounds and trying to heal the way that we respond to our environment and to people after having not learned how to do any of that. We didn't know that you can control your own emotions. We didn't know that you can regulate yourself. We didn't know that you are responsible for the way that you act and feel. And that, especially with dealing with children, you need to be loving and empathetic and kind and caring and not screaming and yelling and shaming and blaming. But that's how we grew up, so that's what we did. So yesterday I had 5 children with me. So I had my sister's 3 kids. Yes, baby?
Can I pour some lemonade into my cup?
Did I give you some already?
No.
Okay, yes. Be careful.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am?
Hi.
Hello, good morning. I'm doing a video right now. Did you want to come say hi? Okay. I'll see you in a minute. Okay. So I have my eldest sister's 3 children. I have my middle sister's daughter. And then I have my best friend's wifey's her daughter, and they're all related. Like our 2 families, Dillon and Smithwick's, got together and just formed a big, huge family. So all the cousins are related. There's one marriage, cousins related, and then I'm best friends with the sister Molly. Anyway, I have all 5 children here, and I also had a geriatric dog, and I was watching everybody. And there was not one moment where I screamed, not one moment where I got elevated, not one moment where I was stressed out, not one moment where I was frazzled. Like there was not any point of time where my heart rate got escalated in a negative manner. I was escalated in an excited manner. I had a great time. We were dancing. We were doing they were making videos back here. This backyard is beautiful. What an amazing backyard. We have a trampoline. We have a playground. There's a swimming pool. There's some monkey bars in the back. So we just had a fantastic time yesterday with 5 children. And I didn't stress not 1 minute. And there were things to stress about. I ordered the food and sent it to my friend's address, which is not next to us. It's a 20-minute drive. I had no way of going to get the food, and and even contacting the drivers, there was no way to redirect the food with a 20-minute drive. So fortunately, because everything works in my favor, as this belief that I've been working with, and placebos work, so whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. I just think that everything works in my favor. And it turns out that I had sent my address, that same address, to my sister who was coming to pick up her daughter. So she was already on the way to go pick up the food at the wrong spot. Then I gave her the correct address to finish coming here and deliver the food. So even with like potentially extremely stressful situations that I would have fretted over, freaked out about, screamed and cried about, just had it as like, oh my God, I ordered the food the wrong way. What's going to happen now? What? Did I waste all my money? Oh my God, they better deliver here. What are they going to cancel my order? Like I could have just stressed, fret, freak out. And it's like an echo. When you freak out, it comes back to you. So I've been focusing on just accepting the moment as is. Like resistance is futile. So just accept it as is. Oh, I put the address in on the order. Oops, what do I need to do now to correct it? And I focus on the solution. I focus on what is the next right step instead of focusing on the drama and of making a mistake or beating myself. Oh my God, Melissa, how could you have done that? Why didn't you look at the map? How could you have made that mistake? That's not the house. How could you do it? Now you've inconvenienced these people. You don't have the food on time. The kids are hungry. Like all these things. You know what's funny is I actually started ordering around 4, knowing that I would probably get messed up or would need time or whatever. And I just flew with my fumbles. I just kept going. And what was really cool too was the eldest, Layla. She was making sure that I was on top of my stuff. She's like, "Did you finish ordering the food yet?" And she would check in and make sure that I was getting things done with having all 5 kids here. So I had help from the eldest to get the food ordered. And it's just all the mistakes that were made. It was just like, oh, okay, what's the next right step? There was no stress. There was no screaming. There was no yelling. There's no name calling. No heart pounding. No freaking out over any event that happened. They made their own lunches. I helped make some lunches, but they just managed themselves pretty much the whole day. Got to do whatever they wanted during the whole day. They even turned on some movies, but then would quit halfway and then come run outside. And they just had fun the whole day. And it definitely helps that they're older. When they're younger, it's definitely a lot harder. And maybe that's a big piece of this. But children are so triggering. And so the title of today's thing was Transcending Triggers. So one of the things I did yesterday was a transcendence transmission with Christine Hayes, who's a coach that I've been working with. I've been able to participate in a lot of her group programs. They're very affordable for me and also extremely powerful for me. And in fact, I was invited to chat with her soon on a live video so we could talk about her coaching and the results of me doing the work with her coaching in her program. Hello, I see some people watching. I don't see who you are, but I don't want to lose my train of thought. So I'm invited to speak with Christine going live. And during this transmission we did yesterday, we picked she asked us to pick a pattern in our life that we do not want to have anymore. Like, what is a pattern that keeps showing up in your life that's causing you to stumble or causing you to feel resistance or just not aligning with what you want? And hi, Jen. And for me, the resistance was seeking external validation. So like, as I'm growing my business, as I have these ideas, I will share these ideas with people. And some people are lit up and some people are not. And they're just like, oh, okay, that sounds cool. Hi, Hazel. What you need, baby?
I'm just going on a journey.
Okay. Love you. So what was I saying? Oh, external validation. I like external validation. I want people to tell me that my ideas are good. I want people to tell me that they think they're great. I want people to tell me like, a great idea, Melissa, get going. Like, how can I help you? Like, that's what I've been wanting. And that's a lot of external validation, which makes a lot of sense. I went to an American school that said you have to wait until someone says good job. You have to wait until someone wants to show off your work. You have to wait until someone in authority says you can speak up. So I'm just kind of like waiting for someone to tell me, Melissa, great, you should do this. Melissa, yeah, that's a great, I'm waiting for someone to like give me the stage, or waiting for someone to give me permission, waiting for someone in authority to say that I'm allowed to speak up about this. And I definitely broke through a lot of those barriers by starting my own business. But I certainly at that point had gotten a lot of hype because it just made so much sense for this business. But I have this big desire in me to externally validate myself all the time. And so that was what I chose during the transmission with Christine, was that my pattern that I want to break out of is this pattern of external validation and seeking from someone else to validate what it is that I want in my life. And then she asked us, what is this pattern protecting you from? Because any pattern that we have in our life, such as seeking external validation or being in toxic relationships or whatever it is a pattern that was built out of protection. So in our childhood, like I explained earlier, if you grew up in an abusive situation with your parents, and keep in mind, the word abusive, we think that means, oh, they locked us in our room, beat us, didn't feed us. Like, that is one form of extreme abuse. But even simple abuse, such as you're an idiot, that's abusive. If your parents told you you're an idiot even just one time, that's abuse. And so I was called an idiot like every day. I was yelled at every day. So I grew up in an abusive home. Did I grow up in a home with food and that was wonderful and I had amazing siblings and I had my own bedroom and I had a great time? Yes. But I also grew up in an abusive environment. Both can exist. And I'm grateful for my life, but yes, I was abused, but I'm going to learn from that. And so what I'm learning, as this pattern is coming in to protect me. So Christine says, why do you have this pattern? Well, I have this pattern because if my friends and family don't get excited about my business or get excited about my ideas or get excited about what I'm doing, it means that it's not a good idea, so that I shouldn't pursue that idea, because then the public, if my own family doesn't like my idea, then the public definitely won't like my idea. And by giving up my dream or vision, if my family indicates that, okay, they're like, if they're not excited about it, to me that indicates that it's not a good idea and that I shouldn't put it out publicly, because if even my own family doesn't like it, then the public definitely won't like it. And so that pattern of mine of seeking external validation, especially from my friends and family, was protecting me from the potential criticism of the outside world. So people in the public could, that was my belief, was that if my own family didn't like it, that it wasn't good enough for the public. And if it's not good enough for the public, then I shouldn't release my idea or my vision, because it's just not going to work out. And I can save myself from criticism and failure. And that was what that pattern was protecting me from. So then she asked us, well, what would your life be like if that pattern was poof, gone? And I'm like, well, then I would validate myself. I would live my dreams. I would pursue them regardless of anyone else's opinion. And I would focus only on my opinion and pursue what felt good and right. And then she said, and what would your life look like once that pattern is broken? Oh my gosh, it would be amazing. I would be able to pursue all of my ideas. I would be able to have fun. It would be so great. I would build the life that I want. Everything would just be great and wonderful. And then she said, let's do an embodiment experience so that we can transcend all of that pattern. And so when I went through that process with her, it was incredible. So she guides us through so she tells us to feel the need for our pattern. So mine was external validation. Other people in the group had different ones. So I felt in my body, she had us feel in our body what it feels like to seek this external validation. And I felt closed up. I felt like I was blocking my face from like being punched, that if the words of my family or friends that I was seeking validation from didn't come back with the same excitement, it felt like I was like going inward to my body. And so she's guiding us through this feeling. So first I feel the pain of seeking external validation. I feel how curled up it makes my body, how tight it feels. And then she guides us through this like, I can't even remember all the things that she said through this process because it was absolutely incredible. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. And she guided us through the feelings of that, and then took us all the way to the feelings of allowing that pattern to go, of no longer needing that external validation, and what our life could be without that external validation. And it's just, I was able to transcend a lot of that desire to seek external validation and to just be open and trusting myself. So what was really cool was after that transmission, I just allowed the kids to just do what they wanted without having to give my external validation. I didn't try to validate what they were doing. I didn't offer my opinion about what they were doing. I just simply accepted whatever it is that they wanted to do. And such amazing things happened yesterday. Layla, the eldest, she reenacted the entire Encanto movie. So I have it on video. She did every scene. She did every person. She would just flip back and forth, and she was reciting almost like the entire movie. It was incredible. Oh my God, I have to think about all of it. Ivy went around. She did this thing. They all did their own thing. They all did their own performance. They all did what they wanted to do. They were just having such a good time. They were being creative, and I gave no validation, but I accepted whatever they presented so that they could see, like, what I want to do feels good and what I want to do feels right. And it was just super great. And now I have one of them staring at me out the window. My biggest thing, though, from yesterday was zero stress, zero frustration, zero fretting, zero frenzy, which was normal for me. If I had 5 kids, like, even, well, I want to say I had all 5 kids at my parents' house in July. And even then, it was still very calm. There was some moments of stress. There was some moments of frustration for sure. But it was during that trip that I was working with my stepdad, which, by the way, oh my gosh, what a healed relationship that was. I hated him for the last 25 years and wished him dead. And now we have this incredible relationship. I call him up, ask him for advice all the time. We chit-chat all the time. I absolutely love having my dad now, stepdad. And I'm even working on the relationship with my own dad. You know, I don't blame him for the way that he raised us, even abusively, calling us names and hitting us upside the head. He has a mental illness. He didn't know how, just the same as me, he didn't know how to control his emotions either. You know, as parents, hopefully we learn that so we can pass it on, but it didn't happen with their generation, not for most of them. It's happening now. And we just, okay, it's happening now. Just let's accept it. Let's accept that our parents didn't get the same knowledge, they didn't get the same opportunities, they didn't get the chance to really work on their mental health in a positive, good way, and we are. So I'm just accepting that. My dad is where I just feel sorry. I feel sorry that, you know, he had to live in stress and frustration, and that's how he raised his kids. I'm not going to live like that. I honor his journey, and I honor what happened, and I can appreciate that he abused us less than his parents abused him. And as much as that's, like, I wish there was no abuse ever, right? Let's eliminate all of that. But we can't eliminate it by being angry about it and yelling back at the parents who dropped it onto us. We just have to focus on healing it within ourselves, and then going forward, how are we going to treat our children? And it was such a good day. And it was such a good day. It was such a good day. We had such a good day. It was so calm, so chill. Everyone was having fun. Even if we messed up, made a mistake, we just took the next right step. No one fought, no one argued. There were moments where the kids would, like, get a little, you know, at each other, but I didn't interject, and they just sorted it out. They just solved it themselves. There was barely any time. I would just ask, is everyone all right? Is everyone getting what they need? Is everyone okay? And I would just ask questions like that. Or even, I even had a moment. There's a swimming pool out here, and they all got excited about going swimming. And they actually jumped in without letting me know. But once I came out and I saw them, we were like, okay, we're sitting by the pool watching you guys swim, taking care of it. But then I had noticed as I was walking into the pool, Luke had left his clothes and his pocket knives just hanging out. And they're just over the floor. And at first my heart is going, there's knives here. What's going on? Why do you leave your knives here? Ah! I even had, like, an idea of, like, taking his knives and putting them away or throwing them away or something, like hiding them. Because that's what my dad would do. If we left something, I remember I left my bag of money somewhere, and then he hid it from me and made me clean the house to find it, like, because I didn't put it away appropriately. So that was how my dad would have responded to that situation. What I did was I called Luke over and I said, "Hey, Luke, how are you doing?" He says, "Good." I'm like, "What's on the ground here?" My clothes and my knives. "Yeah, is this where they belong?" "No." "Do you know how to take care of knives safely and properly? You've learned how to do that since you own knives, right?" "Yes, I know how to be safe with knives." "Do you think everyone else here knows how to be safe with knives?" "No, they don't. They didn't get the same training I did." "Okay, so what do you think we should do?" "We should put my knives away." "That's right. And should we leave them on the ground next time?" No, we shouldn't." That was it. That was the conversation. Where if that had been my childhood, I might have been hit upside the head. I would have been yelled at. I might have had to been sitting in the corner. I probably would have been shamed. "Melissa's leaving her knives on the ground. She's hurting the other kids, and then the kids are stabbing each other, and she's better sit in the corner and be ashamed of her behavior and be excluded from all the other children." That was a common theme in my life. I was excluded. I was made to sit out all the time. So of course I feel set apart. Of course I feel different from everybody else. I was excluded a lot. A lot. My stepmom loved to exclude me. Any family event or activity, "Melissa, go sit in the corner." That was my childhood. So yeah, of course I'm different. You think I'm weird? I spent a lot of my childhood up in my head because I was excluded. Anyway, I think I shared a lot. I'm so happy about transcending my triggers. I'm not saying I'm perfectly healed. I'm not saying that I'm perfectly at peace all the time. I'm simply saying that I am making progress in my life, and it is wonderful, and it is amazing, and I'm so happy to be on this journey, and I'm so blessed and grateful that my sisters had children, so I can get my fill of children, so that I can transcend my triggers with them, so that I can learn to be at peace and calm with myself, so that I can learn to handle my emotions, so I can learn that I don't need to be stressed and fretting and freaking out all the time. I'm so grateful and blessed for all of that. So have a beautiful morning. Have a great day. Good morning with Melissa. Bye. I love you all. Yee.